Welcome back, everyone, to the House of Blasius.
Yes, of course. Well, we get talking. Aidan, welcome back, man.
Thank you. It's great to be back. I'm very happy to be here with this trio again.
Yes, the nightly order.
I've got enough hair for all of you.
You do. The line. When was it? Was it August? Was it August? September?
October. Last October when we last all sat down.
Dude, so what's happened since then? You've made.
What's happened since then? Well, I guess we can move around the table. I'll start with myself. Last October when we first dipped, I'll be honest. Cheers.
No, cheers, but
what we always do when
hold
Aidan
on. I didn't mean to cut him off. I've already poured you some, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
You've already triggered my whole family, Stodge.
That's exactly right. Like, fuck, I'm just trying to do a nice cheers on the side that we're starting.
I love this.
I apologise to the whole Biasi family again. I've interrupted your son.
Yeah.
And, just quick cheers.
Cheers.
And let's get back to the story. Sorry, brother, go. Fuck. And cheers you, so as well. Cheers. My apologies.
Hey.
Fuck.
Chivoli.
All right, come on, bro.
Well, look, in October, when I first come on, in the best place, obviously I was kind of in the thralls and the wraps of kind of self-loathing and, my autoimmune disease. I was on so much medication as well. I was bloated. I was full. I wasn't in a good place, I'll be honest. But come January, not even then, January, February, on my podcast, Blazing Bloodlines, I had this girl on, Jen. You can watch that episode. We can link to it if you like. And this girl that I interviewed had Crohn's disease. For those of you that don't know what Crohn's disease is, it's the basically the inflammation of the small intestine, the colon, the stomach. That's not unlike colitis. It's very similar. It's just where the inflammation is. And this poor girl went through a lot. She went through all the diets, nothing worked. All the bullshit information from the doctors saying you need to eat more greens, you need to eat more this, you need to eat more that, more whole fibers, whole grains. She said you never felt worse. So to cut a long story short, she got to the point where they wanted to give her a stoma bag, which is where they want to take out your small intestine or parts of your stomach, and then when your body develops stool to defecate, you have to scoop it out of this bag. I've had a relative that's had that before, and it's not particularly empowering. So she jumped on carnivore, put it into remission within 6 months, and did hardcore carnivore for 3 years. And for those of you that don't know what hardcore carnivore is, that is flesh of an animal only for 3 years. It's essentially a very big elimination diet. So I jumped on that, and fast forward 4-5 months now, maybe a little bit over 4 months, lost like 15 kilos. Not that I was fat or anything beforehand.
Where, bro?
But
okay.
Where? In the
Teach him. He needs to get carnivore.
No, but I'm looking at like you weren't even that.
Oh no,
he's looking fantastic.
Oh, I look brilliant, dude.
A lot of it was a prednisone that was bloating me and making me hold water and stuff and all that.
You
kind
look
of
good
thing.
before, but like I know what you mean. You tightened up.
I was medicated. Now I've definitely tightened up. So veins where I never had veins, V-line where I thought was impossible, and training, got so much energy, you play 90 minutes of football on a steak and 4 eggs because your body is in a constant state of ketosis where it's burning your body fat. But while I was doing carnivore, was faced with a very rough transition. So when you transition onto carnivore, your microbiome has to change from one that likes sugar, that likes grains, that likes all the food groups, to one that specifically likes meat, that likes flesh. So the first couple months, the first month or two are very much personified by diarrhea, stomach pains, cramps, and I got those to death. So I had to look into, okay, how can I make this work? So I invested through the wisdom of Paul Chek. If those guys who don't know him, he's a holistic trainer that's been around for a long time. You can look into him. He is an absolute godsend to this planet. And he, in a podcast I was listening to with him, he started talking about a company called Biooptimizers, which endorse enzymes that help break down fats and starches and everything. And I was doing a bit of research into carnivore, and it said you have to be helping something, you have to have something to help break down all these things. So I invested in all of these digestive enzymes, which are definitely a part of my routine now. A few herbs, so milk thistle to help with the liver. Yeah. Since my autoimmune disease, the nature of it is inflammation in my liver, in my bile ducts in particular. And a few other things, NAC to help clear up free radicals, a couple of other things, a lot of good magnesiums and stuff. Like I've got my medicine cabinet is basically essentially a pharmacy, but not a pharmacy the way that you would think of it. More of like everything in there is derived from natural things. There's no chemically manufactured stuff in there from pharmaceutical companies. So what did that mean for me then? Now I've had another colonoscopy, which was awesome, with Dr. Pran out of Castle Hill, which came up with 0 inflammation in the stomach and in the colon, which is awesome. Got a liver scan coming up as well, which will essentially be the number one factor if my inflammation has gone down enough to be able to take myself off immune suppressors. And the terrible thing is for me is that the last specialist I was seeing, to be fair, was a great doctor. I was seeing him for 4 or 5 years. He's the one that kind of got to the bottom of where I was. But that was kind of it. I was essentially going there and paying him a couple $100 for him to read liver enzyme results to me, which I could already at that point read myself. He service stopped there.
Yeah.
So then through this one girl I interviewed, I came across Dr. Pran Yuganathan, who knew you.
Yep.
And when I came in, said, do you have a brother or a cousin or something? Because you know, and because he knew you and we look similar and share a name. And so he said to me something that really rattled me. I've been on this immune suppressor for 6 years called azathioprine, or the brand name's Imuran, and it's an immune suppressor, and it suppresses your immune system, right, to stop the inflammation, the immune response. And what happened was, he goes, you do understand, right? Well, firstly, he said to me when I went into the doctor's surgery, he goes, why are you on azathioprine? And I said, well, the last doctor put me on it, and I thought that was a part of my protocol. And he goes, have you had any side effects with it? I said, no, only prednisone. That fucked me a lot. But azathioprine, no. I said, look, my diet's tight, my lifestyle's good. It didn't affect me, because when my first specialist put me on it, he goes, don't go in the sun, don't do this, don't do that, because this is gonna lower all your body's natural defenses. Your sun will burn easier. You know, I was still sunbaking for hours in the summer at that point, but I never stopped. I just kept myself healthy as to not get affected by these side effects. So he goes to me, you do understand that this immune suppressor is not having any effect on you whatsoever. You've essentially been taking it for 6 years for nothing.
Oh.
And I said, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he goes, why are you on it? I said, because he told me to be on it. Like, you know, I'm all about independent research. I'm a critical thinker. If I had have gone the normal way of what normal people do and use that as an excuse to keep bad habits, I would have been dead. I swear to God. So, you know, he goes, you got to get off it. And I said to him, all right, if my immune system's suppressed and without a proper immune system, you can't function to your full capacity, maybe that's the key. Maybe this has been making things harder for me. If my immune system comes back to full capacity, maybe that's the answer to my problems. And he goes, maybe. We have to see what your liver test says. And I said, okay. So that's pretty much where I am now. So the carnivore diet, it's tightened me up. It's given me such confidence. Look, it really restricts your way of eating, but after this long, I can look at pizza, I can look at
dude. That's what I brought it here. I'm teasing.
I can look at my sister's beautiful gourmet apple pie, organic.
Yeah, so which sister again?
So it's my sister Dana, Designs by Dana on Instagram.
Thank you very much, Dana.
I got a podcast with her.
Yes, well, I'll put that up too.
And she will tell you all about how she loves organic cooking. This is 4 ingredients.
Good.
4 ingredients.
She spoke about this sort of stuff, man.
I wish you guys could just smell how good this smells. I want to cry.
And
This family, I'm in love. Can you adopt me? Can I just adopt as like a Uncle Fester?
Do you need workers? No, you got the whole family. I popped in Wednesday.
They always need workers.
I was down there getting a bodyboard because I'm going to start, hitting the water because I'm crazy in the morning. And I popped in there and the whole family's there.
I love it.
Like, this is Family Wednesday.
I love it, bro. I love it.
And they're just cutting hair, and they're talking to people in the street. Come on, let's cut in. Fantastic, dude.
That win, bro.
It's pretty strong.
It's going to pick up the whole studio. You guys don't have problem with the hair, bro. Mine's starting to move.
Like but no, going back to that, when you had the test inflammation, do you reckon that was? Do you reckon the carnivore diet helped with that? Did Pran? Obviously, we're organised something in the future too with Pran.
Yeah.
But which we'll talk about. But also, do you reckon that helped?
Look, I think the one thing that carnivore has done for me thus far, and to be fair, this girl that I had a conversation with did it for 3 years, and I have not even done it for half a year. And the first thing it does to you is that it breaks you down mentally. Picture yourself as a soldier going through basic training. The whole point of that is to break the soldier down from civilian life, break the bad habits of civilian life, so then you can become a soldier, to essentially become a machine that can follow orders and kill on demand. And so what does the carnivore diet do as soon as you start? It breaks all your civilian bad habits. Mm-hmm. So, okay, carbs in the morning is going to spike your insulin. That's a no-no anymore. A little bit of sugar as a reward. That's not happening anymore. All you're drinking is water. All you're eating is flesh of an animal. So my big thing is kangaroo. lamb, fish, prawns, everything, right? And, you know, you crave a bit of rice, you crave something sweet after. But as I was saying, I look at this pizza, I look at this apple pie. We did Orthodox Easter with my uncle on the Greek side of the family, and there was so much dessert, and I just didn't want it because those couple months have totally broken me and brought me into the soldier mentality where I can look at all this and I just don't want it because I've now comparatively felt what it feels like to be living under the traditional diet, and I didn't feel good. And I said this in one of my interviews with Matt Cabrera, the football trainer who was on my podcast. I said to him, I used to carb load before my soccer games. But you know what? I felt like shit. I was bloated. If I didn't shit before the game, I would get this massive anxiety because I've either have to play football with 2 kilos sitting in my stomach or go and use the manky clubhouse toilets. But instead of that, I had a steak and 2 eggs.
Yeah.
Played 90 minutes, and you don't even need to shit. Sometimes you don't shit for 2 days.
When I spoke to you, remember on chat line, I was thinking about you told me about it, and I was like, because I've got the nerve damage in the throat, I'm gonna take away inflammation.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and I got the meat. I did it until up to Thailand, and then we went to Thailand, and that just, like I said, you know, I thought I'll have pad thai and I'll cheat a bit, but getting back onto that, strictness, what I realised, which I will go back. You know, what I realise is that it's the commitment you have for it. It does make you into a soldier because I had Easter. I had 2 family functions and you know, Spanish, Italian sides. There's like heaps of food. I stuck to it. Didn't feel like I felt, everyone was complaining after how bloated they felt. So much food, dude.
Absolutely.
And I actually felt good. Like you said, you look at this and it doesn't really do anything for you, right? Because it reminds you of the pain that you had.
Yeah, and aesthetically, it's not the best looking pizza.
It isn't actually.
Looked like the chef had a bit of semen retention and
you decided
to show how much you love you.
We'll have it later.
Traditional pizzas, Italian, like good luck to this business. We have to support them. Like they're doing it hard enough as it is.
Yep.
But this is not what I usually eat from a pizza. I like fucking wood-fired, very basic, traditional, good quality, big puffy crusts, like real pizza. Yeah?
Light, Italian, it's light, it's not heavy.
That's it, man. And it loves you in so many different ways that you never thought that you would be loved before. But I want to come to a point, and I want to talk about the carnivore diet too, all right? I tried the carnivore diet for a little while, for about a month.
Yeah.
And I was experiencing really bad stomach pain.
Your body was shifting.
100%.
Yep. But then also, I just, constipation and stuff like that, I really wasn't vibing with it. I felt great, obviously, in the first week, and I was dropping water weight and everything, but I felt deep down something was missing, and then I started to introduce little bits of vegetables, and then little bits of like rice here, a little bit of pasta or some type of grain, but I kept away from the sugar, and I felt amazing. So, and when I spoke to my nutritionist, Dina, she goes, it's not for everyone. And she has her own opinions for carnivore. But for when I did my gene test, my gut microbiome test and everything, it shows that I need a lot of cruciferous vegetables.
So Brussels sprouts and asparagus.
And then when I have that, I'm on a different level.
Really?
I'm on a different level.
Yeah,
and then I'm lean, because I used to be an athlete back in the day.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, I used to be an athlete, bodybuilder, like, you know, the Olympics, I could run 4-second 100-meter sprints. But then they had to stop me because, like, they said, no, mate, you're too fast.
He was invited to the Olympics, but couldn't go. He needed to work.
In 1944. But the thing is that, so carnivore didn't strictly work for me, but I had to introduce basic vegetables.
Yep.
And if I don't have sugar, I don't have bread. And I eat once a day, or probably 2 meals a day. I'm on my game. I'm there where I need to be, because I was going through a lot of stress at work, which we won't go too much into, but I dropped 7 kilos in pretty much like just over a month.
And that was due to stress.
But you know what was going on? I wasn't eating. I was that fucking stressed. I was that stressed that I wasn't eating. So I was only eating one. I couldn't eat. I was running on cortisol. So I had just 1 meal a day, and it was a good meal, and I'll be eating anything.
Yeah.
But I dropped 7 kilos, and I was feeling fantastic, actually. I felt fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to figure out myself, what is it that works for me? Eating 3 meals a day does not work for me.
Yeah, I had this talk, like even breakfast, they said most important part. But I actually feel better. I get up and I actually fast until I'm hungry.
Yeah, I don't eat breakfast.
And there's no time. It could be 12, could be even 10:30. And then I have something.
Sometimes
like I was having a steak and a bit of bacon or egg, and I was like feeling great. This is awesome. Some water. When you're hungry, have some water.
Yeah, I have coffee, water, cigars.
It's just like just to cut you off for a minute, it all just really depends. Like, you know, a lot of the people now that try and, you know, you jump on Instagram and you look at all the reels and there's one guy that says, and breakfast is a scam. There's one guy that says, no, you need breakfast. I think where these guys go wrong, look, first of all, if you're trying to jump on socials with this kind of like rhetoric of what you need to be doing, all those people will tell you all this and then they try and sell you something at the end of it. So I always like to listen to people that aren't in it for any type of monetary gain or trying to sell something. They're just there to spread good works. So the way I see it is everyone is different. Like if you're an athlete, what's the point of fasting? You need to be fueled. Whereas like I understand what you said, like, you know, it is a little bit of a kind of a cultural I think cultural psyop that breakfast is important, but it's not so much that breakfast is important or isn't important. It's what are you having for breakfast, you know? And then
First thing you put in your mouth.
First thing.
Yeah.
And if
Cereal.
you're not hungry, why you eat?
Cereal.
You like cereal?
No.
No.
But that's what we're eating when we're younger.
Yeah,
well,
cornflakes.
Even me.
Yeah.
Cornflakes.
like
There's nothing in. What's in cornflakes?
Yeah, you're right, dude, isn't it?
What's in cornflakes? There's nothing.
Sugar.
No goodness in fucking cornflakes. Nutrigrain,
it's a
rice
it's a
bubbles,
filler.
Cocoa Pops.
Yeah.
I used to love Cocoa
Fruit
Pops.
Loops. I never understood Fruit Loops.
I never had Fruit Loops, but I'll smash. You bring me Cocoa Pops now,
I
a
love
Weet Bix,
Cocoa
I'll
Pops,
smash
dude.
them.
And when it
alright?
gets soft
But
sometimes.
that's the first thing that we ate in the morning. That's what
With
I. It's
chocolate
like, and that's good for kids. No, it's not.
No, of
Yeah.
course
No, it's not.
Nutrigrain
Scrambled
is another
eggs.
one, it's the shit.
Yeah.
Steak and eggs.
Steak and
Yeah,
eggs,
but they-
scrambled
Steak and
eggs,
eggs.
cheese, bacon.
Yeah. But they sell Nutrigrains and energy. It's Iron Man.
It
how
gives
they
you
got us.
energy.
It would give you energy,
Yeah.
but it'll give you an insulin crash that'll make you crave, mate, Dana's apple pie faster than you can
Thank
say,
you, Dana.
mate, bench
Thank you,
press.
Dana.
No, thank you, Dana. This family.
Hey, can we try it? I want to try it. Can we try
All
it?
right.
Rip into it.
Sure. It's not gluten free though, but let's explain.
But
this.
it's organic wheat.
There you go.
So if you
Let's give it a go.
So for those of you while they're eating, Daniel, he's a celiac. But having said that, though, I've mentioned numerous times the connection between celiac and glyphosate, right?
Keep talking, man.
Just
So,
get fucked, man.
so you could probably keep eating this and not have any flares.
No,
Because this is all organic stuff. Even the eggs are probably fucking pasteurized too.
No, can I just stop everyone there?
man.
As the lead food reviewer for this group here, no, but this is fucking delicious.
So,
Dana, this is it's juicy.
It's juicy.
It's
Here we go,
juicy.
Stodge review.
No,
Give
it's
it a review.
juicy. It's cold. Obviously, because you brought it from the northern
still nice,
beaches. It is so delicious.
It was fucking
imagine a
good
warm
last
bit of
night.
ice cream.
I was thinking about it, but I
Dude.
thought it'd melt
That's all right.
by the time we got here.
No, you
I
can
want to
do
cry right now. I'm so emotional. I want to cry. Dana, you're bringing out the goodness out of me.
it. This is good. I got this pizza because it's a good way to.
Don't worry about the
explain.
pizza there, bro. This
No, but I want people to see.
apple pie. I'm not saying it because you're here and oh my god. No, this
No.
is.
She's
If
good,
you
man.
told me that you brought this from some type of fancy baker in the northern beaches, some Guido Hatzis or some Emmanuel Malaclacwan, whatever, I would believe you because this is delicious. This is
I have one more mouthful and then I'll start talking.
look at it. Look at that. It's even perfectly cooked in
Yeah,
there.
the puff pastry is beautiful.
Did you try some, Nick?
Yeah,
In the back there, yeah.
You know what? That's the best apple pie I've ever had. It is delicious, cinnamony. It is juicy, moist, everything you want.
Does that hurt you, like, to not have that?
Well, I've had it before.
Your family, yeah, I know. So this is the thing. This is like you said, committed.
Like I do
And
want
makes
it,
him a soldier.
You're
dude.
missing out on a lot.
but,
This
but I
is
know
fantastic.
I know how I'll feel after.
Pleasures. It's pleasures, mate.
Well, all right.
I've come too far. It's like what Stojcevski
Yeah.
said when he said he first started, just quickly, when he first started that carnivore diet, he said it was uncomfortable. I said, well, what do the soldiers feel like when they first get off the camp to boot camp? How
fair.
uncomfortable is it? But you
past
you
it,
got
yeah.
you got to see it through.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's because at the end of the day, before I pass on the baton, is that carnivore, and I know we'll probably touch on it again a bit later because there's still more stuff I want to add on to it. But having said that, though, this for me now is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. There are so many things now I will never eat again because I have a friend that saw the results that I was doing. But mind you, I've got a very life or death reason for doing this.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone's doing it just because they want to shed a couple extra kilos for summer, well, I would just say go more animal based and enjoy yourself because at the end of the day, I'm going through a life or death crisis. And it makes you a little bit crazy. But it's a lifestyle change. Because I said to my friend, well, when you get to the, he goes, oh, I'm starting to feel sick after 2 months. I said, well, you got to get to the point where your body's changed. So don't try and rush this process. It takes time. Like my body's only just adjusted to it now. And I said to him, so what are you going to do when you get to 6 months? What then? What are you going to do then?
Go for another 6.
Were you going to fucking just go back to eating whatever your mum makes?
Yeah.
No, this is a lifestyle change.
And it hurts too. Like me going back, my body's going back into I have gluten free still, but having salad, bit of fruit, bit of rice, my bowels are going back again. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's got to go break through this cycle, even going back to normal food. So, I reckon people should give it a go, man.
Yeah.
Stodge.
I'm not. Carnival's not. I don't believe it's for me. I like. Obviously, people are gonna say, "Oh, you only did it for 1 month." Sure, you know, enough. Don't talk. No, I'm just joking. But I did it for 1 month. They say it's not enough, and fair enough, push through. But I found that I felt so much better, and the way that like I do healthy bowel motions every single morning, sometimes twice a day or whatever. I know what works and what doesn't work in that regard, and how I feel after. And obviously, if you're not feeling well, go take a dump. You know, and then you will feel better because you need to. It's your body's elimination process. A lot of people are constipated. They're eating everything and they're constipated and they're not going to the toilet and they've got all this stuff built up. I'm surprised to know that when you're on carnivore, you don't need to go to the toilet.
Well, your diet is so nutritionally dense that your body's absorbing most of it.
Well,
so there's no waste.
There's no waste,
but
dude.
that's what I wanted to get to.
You
That's
have
interesting.
You have to be changing your proteins though, because it takes over 70 hours, according to Paul Chek, to break down each protein. So you should be rotating 4 days. I say it. I don't always follow it.
As in like
Fish,
salmon.
Right, Monday red meat.
Yeah.
Tuesday chicken. Wednesday fish. Look, if you're on carnivore, you can't do a non-meat day, so you can't really do a veggie day. But just maybe a different type of red meat. So if I'm doing kangaroo, then when I go back to the next red meat, it should be lamb.
Yeah, okay.
So that way you're giving all the waste protein in your body that 70 plus hours to then break down. Otherwise, you've just constantly got this like stuck stool in there that doesn't move.
Yeah.
And
that's how it works. So that's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask, how many times a day do you eat?
So for me, I'll eat breakfast. Because like if I fast, I want to, but sometimes I wake up hungry, so it depends. But this is the big thing before I answer your question. I have no gallbladder. So the big primary focus on carnivore is that your energy, once your ketosis kind of depletes, and my weight's dropped down to 83. I don't think I've ever been that low since I was maybe like 12. So
we look good, man.
Thank you. So, but too much fat and I'll get a flare because my bile ducts are inflamed. So I was cooking with tallow, and one time I had some tallow and this and that. I had too much of it. Honestly, I had to get so stoned that night because the pain was so bad that I had to reach for my... It was so bad.
That's the butter, isn't it? Is that... What's tallow?
Tallow's like... It's like red beef fat.
Yeah, you cook with that.
Well, no, my sister makes moisturizer and everything out of it.
It's fantastic.
They do everything. It's like...
fantastic.
This is what all the ancient tribes use for everything. We use it for sunblock, for moisturizer.
Okay.
But you can use it to cook. But now I use ghee. I love ghee.
Clarified butter.
I love ghee. I put it in my coffee. I put it in hot water.
Really good for you.
Because in the ancient Indian tradition, you have it in hot water and it can help clear phlegm, clear everything.
And it's ghee. What's that made of?
Ghee is clarified butter.
And
So it's got milk solids taken out of it, so it's keto friendly, so it doesn't spike your insulin. It keeps you in ketosis.
Delicious.
And you get that from the shops?
Yeah, I get it from the health food shops. It's
Delicious,
organic,
bro.
Organic.
It's awesome.
Okay, so you
Put
cook
it in your
that.
coffee. Put grass-fed butter in your coffee. Well, the main thing that we're all talking about here is we're coming back to a thing that's none of this is heavily processed. It's all natural.
Yeah.
Grass-fed butter,
Ancestral.
ghee, tallow, rendered beef fat. You're eating very basic. So slaughter the animal, taking its flesh, taking the meat. You're cooking it in its own fat.
Yeah.
You're cooking it in healthy, unprocessed or unheavily processed oils, whatever. So you're not fucking around with the goodness. It's all basic, and your body's like, oh, I know what this is. This is cool. I can break this down. I need this. It's not been going through a machine for like 2 days, 3 days at a time, and being
processed.
worked, and your body's like, I don't know what this is. What's this glyphosate in here? What's this pesticide? What's this GMO? I don't know what this is.
Causes the immune reaction.
Even
go.
cooking it too. Listen to your sister podcast.
So I just want to come back to one thing.
Yep.
One thing, which is you're going back to bare bones, bare basics.
Yep.
And you're eating the way that we used to eat.
Ancestrally.
All the way.
Not even to 200, 300 years ago. Like, okay, maybe not that long ago, but like, let's just say ancestral. So everyone always loves, Paul Saladino, Dr. Paul Saladino. He's one guy that's spoken out a lot. But there's also Anthony Chafee, and there's another guy, Mark Baker as well. These are all the carnivore advocates. But Saladino is the one that is the most outspoken on socials. But to be fair with him, he's a bit of a zealot. Like, he goes as far to say, like, don't wear sunglasses, don't do this, don't do that. But he's preaching all of this from an ideal lifestyle. Like the guy's moved to Costa Rica. He works for himself, so he's created this ideal lifestyle for himself, which then makes it easy for him to be able to preach this.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the same vein where a millionaire tells you money isn't important.
Yeah.
You just need to be happy. It's like, okay, well,
You can say that.
Yeah, I just drove through fucking trade gear to get here. All through those housing commissions, tell those people that.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And that's why we'll get back. I want to get to that with the area.
But don't wear sunglasses. If you're in Western Sydney, not wearing sunglasses, you'll get cataracts in a couple of months.
It does
That's how bright it
older
is.
people when they're getting
But
that.
also they're spraying shit in the sky, so the aluminium, so it bakes it. So when you're living in a tropical environment, where there's natural cloud cover, it's dense, and you got the beach and you go backwards and forwards. Fair enough, but you can't
Did
do
you
that
see my
everywhere.
story the other
So,
day?
yeah, I was just
Right, that was
remind me.
crazy.
So they're
Chemtrails.
not only the
And it
food,
rained last night too.
Chemtrails are
I
real.
noticed that, dude. Look at the weather.
Look at the weather
The
today, that's it,
forecast
bro.
was meant to be clear.
Let's talk conspiracies.
It was raining last week. They're meant to be clear, and I saw that, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
You see it go in the sky, and the next day is cloudy. Whole day yesterday, today
Yeah.
is cloudy, just cold. and cloudy.
Floods, and then a couple hours south, you got famine in Australia.
This is Agenda 2030, dude.
It's coming. 2030 is almost here, bro.
Like,
All these
come on.
multimillionaires, I'm doing this for my family's future. I want to be rich. Good luck. See where the money takes you after 2030. See where they put you in the 15-minute cities.
It's happening, man.
It is. It's there.
And I said this before in the other podcast. I don't know, we're gone. We'll get back to the other thing, but the whole mental state as well for workers, they're getting everyone ready not to work. You know?
Yeah.
The economy's going down. Everyone's struggling. Not barbershops. Everyone needs a haircut. Especially you.
I don't need a haircut. I'll never cut my hair. And the reason why my hair is long like this because they told us during COVID we couldn't get a haircut.
This is
the
rebellion.
ultimate fuck you to everyone.
It is, isn't it? You're still carrying that burden.
That's
that
it, mate.
pain.
I'll never take it.
Yeah, like fuck you. But yeah, so like it's pretty good actually. Well done, keep it going. I'll see how long you can grow.
All right, to my ass.
But yeah, so like this, the whole cloud thing too, like this spraying. So whatever way you take, and going back to the food and conspiracies, you look at the pots. Your sister was talking about the pans.
Yeah.
It goes to what you cook in as well. Like we're all going, okay, we're gonna have fresh organic meat, whatever we have, but it's cooking it as well.
Forever
what we're cooking it
chemicals.
in.
Yeah.
It can carry the chemicals from the
What was plastic? So the forever chemicals, the BPA in plastic, they got Teflon. So that stuff when
Yeah.
you cook it, it leaches into your food.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's like you got to be aware of everything.
Don't use Teflon.
And the air you breathe.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the funny thing what Pran said to me. And I know we keep referring to Pran, so I know in the description as well we can put him in there. He's a gastroenterologist out in Castle Hill that we're all very close with. He's actually my specialist. But regardless of that, one of the most important thing he said to me was, "Are you filtering your water?" And I said, "It is so funny you said that. My dad just spent a couple G's on putting reverse osmosis in the whole house.
Great.
To the point where I don't even have to go downstairs now. I can do everything from my bathroom sink.
I was
Great.
going to say that, dude.
Shower.
Yeah.
I can drink out of
Tony
the shower.
Biasi again.
No, but they're smart. So I
Yeah.
want to get that done for my house as well.
So filter system, eh?
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Well,
I've,
filter
I've got
water.
a fridge, but is that good enough? The fridge filter?
You got a reverse
No,
osmosis
no.
is
It's not,
the
is it?
best because you're still getting fluoride and stuff.
One thing is to all the listeners out there, to all the millions of people
Better
that
than
this is
nothing,
going to
right?
reach. First
Yeah,
thing
true.
is that you guys everyone needs to change. Is the water that you drink.
Yeah.
Is the water that you drink. Get one filter, second filter, third filter to the point where you get reverse osmosis, 5-stage, 10-stage, triple stage, whatever stage filters that takes out all the fluoride, chloride, all that type of stuff. And do it for 6 months. No, don't even do it for 6 months. Do it for a month. And you will see when you go to normal tap water, you won't want to drink it. You won't want to drink it.
taste it.
I guarantee you will not want to drink it
quite
because you
sad.
can taste it. You're going to feel lethargic after. You're going to feel your body's going to say there's something wrong. There's something wrong, and you'll notice it. That's it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving a medical advice, but just give it a go.
You're
Give
right
it a
though,
go.
Storm.
That's it.
And yeah, there's people getting sick and stuff around, and then we can go on about the vaccinations. And it's
I'm,
like,
I'm giving medical
know,
advice.
Yeah, you get no.
I
seriously,
think it's the biggest
give it.
fallacy in the world that you have to be
You're living it. Dude.
accredited to be able to
He's living it.
dispense advice.
Your experience, you haven't. We said this before last podcast. Like you going through this, you're going to learn more. You don't have to be qualified. You're actually living. And you got doctors. They talk about your case, right? They
Yeah.
have talks about it because is it common?
What's that?
Your immune disorder.
No, even the doctor even told me when I sat down with Dr. Pran, and the first thing he said to me was, he goes, "I want you to understand first and foremost that what you have is incurable." And I said, "Don't worry, I've come to grips with all this. In terms of mortality and stuff, this doesn't bother me anymore. The stuff that bothers me a lot is, I guess, the pain and the suffering." But having said that, though, I'm very quite well versed and well read and well studied on the basically the art of suffering and how it can bring you closer to your faith. And like I was told you I was going to bring that book called Molded by Suffering, Shaped by Suffering, from Kenneth Boa, that I got at a Christian bookshop called Reformers Bookshop in Stanmore near Newtown. And I highlighted through it, and it had all these great passages from the Bible that tells you why us Christians are called to suffer to carry our cross, because otherwise, without that suffering, firstly, we can't develop our character, and secondly, we can't grow closer to Christ the Savior, because we haven't suffered, we haven't been challenged. Therefore, we haven't molded ourselves to be able to emulate that suffering or the lessons. So that, and to be quite honest with you guys, everything I've been through the last 10 years, I wouldn't trade it for anything at all, because the person I was, naively, vices, drinking, I'm just so glad that that's over. And then the fact that, I can pour all that energy out of myself and into my kids, and that, funnily for them, not that they know it now, they're probably so lucky their daddy's gone through this, because this is going to shape very much how they're going to be raised.
So this is the beauty of it, having kids as well. When you go for that sort of stuff, and it does build that, you go, we're only here for a speck, like Marcus Aurelius says, we're a speck, nothing, we're just that's it, And I think that's what our job, to go for that suffering, like Jesus Christ, is to pass on the next and to give them, the teachings of it, man. And I think that's if you think like that, suffering does make you grow and aware. And it's like, I think I said it, be careful what you wish for sometimes, if you wish to be wiser, sometimes things are thrown in your path, and that's the stuff you learn, I think you grow from. And you could have a life locked into your house, listen to the news and all the bullshit, and have that simple life. But it's hard. The narrow path to heaven, man. Look, that's what it is.
The road to heaven will always feel like hell. The road to hell will always feel like heaven.
Yeah, that's it, dude. That's it, dude.
That is the truth. And you will be known, as Jesus said, you can tell a tree by its fruit. And that's what I wanted to say to you boys. Your fruit has nourished me.
Oh, dude.
A lot.
He's beautiful, isn't
My
he?
plums.
Oh, and that's what we're
beautiful.
So that's giving me goosebumps.
But also, your trees nourished us as well, mate.
100%,
because
dude.
from the first podcast last year in August to now, October. Yeah, because I'm so rich and everything like those.
He's got a lot on his mind.
I've got a lot. I actually have a lot on my mind. It never shuts off.
Always find people that are unemployed who always got the most on their
I
mind.
am unemployed at the moment. I'm actually unemployed at the moment.
Yeah, but not a bad one.
I haven't been
It's great, because during COVID when we weren't working, my God, the amount of mental capacity I had for everything was insane. So I can only imagine, in a slightly envious way, how lucky you are to be in a position to be in between jobs. And we need money, but this is the chance. Remember, I told you in that voice message, I said start reading, start learning,
which I have.
Yeah, start bettering yourself while you're not working.
So let me tell you what I'm doing at the moment. I go to bed at 1 o'clock at night. I wake up at 9, have a coffee, cigar, a bit of bourbon, a bit of rakia, and I do gardening work. I read a book. I watch Netflix. I watch Netflix series there on the couch. Wood fire's going, and it's fucking great. Yeah. But one thing that did happen to me was I was hit down with this really strange fever and chills over the weekend. And I was talking to a friend, ex-colleague still, and he goes, "Looks like, mate, do you think it's things leaving your body?" Because I was so under pressure and under stressed from that job. And I said, you know what? I think you're right, because the body knows. And then when you go into a place of relax and healing, then that's when things will spring up. And I've never the last time I experienced that was during COVID, when I've got 2 blankets on, I've got a fever, and I'm shivering. And the thing is, I don't have any other symptoms.
Have you ever heard of a Herxheimer reaction?
No, please tell me.
So a Herxheimer reaction is something that I learned of when I was taking chlorine dioxide to help purify my body, which was when I was on my big let's get healed through Telegram kind of phase.
Oh, yeah.
The universal antidote. So basically it's this chlorine dioxide is this massive water purifier that in small doses you can put in your body and it purifies it. There's a lot of testimonials to it for it working, but having said that, I don't think I did it for long enough. But for those of you that want to look into that, go on Telegram and join the group's Universal Antidote. But having said that, the Herxheimer reaction that I looked into is your body goes into kind of withdrawals, you start to feel sick and vomit and sweat and get diarrhea, because your body is filtering and excreting toxins at a point that you can't actually your body can't do it at the rate that it's trying to detoxify. So instead of detoxifying properly, you end up just getting really sick. So that's like the Herxheimer, they say detoxing too quickly. And if you've been through so much stress, and this might not even be like accurate, but it just came to my head when I was hearing your story, that you might have gone through all that stress, and now that your body's finally returning to normal, you're finally detoxing, but probably quicker than your body can process it. So bang, you're knocked out and you get sick.
I agree. I completely agree with that. But also through a lot of the massage and healing work that I was doing, and I should probably get back into, I noticed that when the body and the muscles and even the soul, spirit, whatever you want to say, whichever aspect, all of it together wants to start healing and letting go, you will go through physical symptoms because it has to leave the body.
I agree with that.
You have to get blisters, eczema at times, rashes, diarrhea, vomiting, pains in your stomach. Like you know when you're that stressed and you start getting stomach pain, because stomach is your emotional center, your solar plexus. Why do you get it right there? When you're going through heartbreak, it hurts here. It hurts in those places. Okay, so it's all physical manifestations in the body, and we all have to go through it. So that's definitely right.
No, I when you said that, it reminded me of the night before my operation for my neck.
Yeah.
I had to organise, it was a big thing, you know, organise a few things. And the night before, I just, fever, same thing, mate.
Your body's
vomiting,
getting rid of...
I couldn't vomit out the others, mate. It was, I don't know what was going on. I was by myself, you know, getting, but it was my body stressing. Like, I didn't know. I was felt all right, but it must have been that as well. It comes out, mate.
There's a lot of things there. The best thing, the most amazing thing is when you go through all this stuff, even yourself, like when you document, you journal as well?
I've just started. I go on and off. Like I go through moments where I'm writing lots of poetry, and actually when we're going with Prana, I want to bring some of my original poetry.
Do that, man.
I go through the stages of writing books and then journaling, and then I stop for a bit because for me, I'm one of those people where I'm still kind of learning to master this. It's kind of like, it's really funny because there's a rock band from the 90s called Skid Row, if you remember, and they had a song called Quicksand Jesus, and the whole phrase Quicksand Jesus was people that, you know, say, Jesus help me, but when they're in quicksand. Yeah. And so for me, when times are rough, that's when I really resort back to source, back to journaling, back to all these mindful practices, but then you drop it when you feel better. But for me, I'm trying to say, no, this has to be a lifestyle practice. So to answer your question at the moment, yes. Okay. But I do not answer questions black and white, yes or no.
You don't need to.
No, don't.
I love it. But that makes sense though, because it's like your carnivore diet too. It's like it's not a diet. Diets don't work, man.
No, it's a lifestyle. And I did feel worse when I started. My symptoms did get worse.
But you're getting much better. It's working out for you now. You're happy. You're doing it, and your body's responding to it well. So continue doing it.
My problem now is upstairs, honestly.
And
I can blame it on the prednisone fucking me up. I can blame it on this, that, whatever. But
mushrooms.
I think that's going to be the next step for me. My ayahuasca trip fell through. It didn't end up happening, but the amount of preparation I did for it did more than I think the ceremony could have ever done, because I was so mentally prepared for it, my intentions, and that vein of form, that result I wanted from it came from me just being so pure in my intentions, because what I wrote in my intentions for it, I really meant. And I think that's just the power of manifestation.
It is. But also, so now there's a couple of things there. So I want to get to what I was thinking of just then, but before, what I was coming up to with journaling was when you go a year, 2 years, 3 years down the track, and you're going through this and you record all of this, you go back, you see how much you've changed, what you're going through in your body, but also what you're going through in your life. And then you can see that everything is all linked. So the beautiful thing with retrospect and looking back in time is you can actually see, you can start putting pieces of the puzzle together. You can't put it together now. We don't know. But after a while, you're like, oh, fuck, you put a link, you're like, that actually makes sense. That might have actually... And then it's just a beautiful thing of retrospection, a beautiful thing of getting wiser and older so that you can teach a younger generation, you know, so that you can, when you live and experience. So if you just go aimlessly through life and you don't, you don't take stock and you're not paying attention, like you just, where you're going to end up, you're not going to be...
the future, dude. You got to think of like, you're in this point now for that. Yeah, to look back, that's a pattern.
And you think of the future, but the thing is also when you get to some point in the future, when you get to the future and you get to the present, you have to look back to the past. And you have to analyze these things so that you can put it together. So you can teach your children, you can teach younger generation, you can teach other people. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? Every single time we actually sit down and talk with each other, we're actually educating each other and listening to stories.
Fantastic. But you do know, like, my order of thinking is this deep all the time.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes why I think I can't sleep.
And this is why we all get along. I couldn't sleep.
Me too.
The last night was all right. 2 nights before that, I couldn't sleep, dude. Don't know if it was a moon. I don't know. It's just ticking, man, ticking. Usually I'm fine, but I got a taste of it. I don't know what it was. Something was calling.
Because you know that there's, like, for me, like, there's just... So, like, I even, like, my quick commute to work, 5-10 minutes, I still have something in podcast going because I need to be absorbing all the time. I have to constantly be learning. I've got no problem learning. I've got a problem with retaining.
Yeah.
But it's very similar. But do you keep that? This is the thing. Like, do you take a break from that? Because I get overload. My brain is like hard drive. It's like it's too much now. So I just listen to music.
That's what I use when I go overseas. So when I go overseas, I go to Mexico. I go to US and see my wife's family. That is when I switch off.
Yeah.
However, for me, when I'm at work and everything, my mum and the dad, they always say, Aidan, you're too hard on yourself. Just relax. Just don't worry about it. Like, it's fine. But then I think, what would Marcus do?
I love it.
I'm the same. I love it. It's always
Marcus says, be lenient with others, but hard on yourself. But that doesn't necessarily mean black and white, be hard on yourself. You got to break it down because this is metaphor. We have to be able to break down what he means, hard on yourself. Yeah. So does that mean you don't give yourself some reward? Does that mean every single time I smoke weed, I have to feel guilty that I'm smoking weed? And really, I've been listening to a lot of what Paul Chek's been saying about plant medicine. And so now, something I didn't do when I was really in that... When we filmed in October, I was not in a good place with cannabis. I was basically using it to mask how depressed I was that this situation had befallen me and nothing was changing. I wasn't getting any better. I was feeling worse. I just didn't want to be alive anymore. Not even like my son could keep me going. I was just so fucking depressed. And I couldn't sleep, and it was just like no REM sleep for months and months and months because cannabis suppresses it. But Paul Chek teaches you have to give intention. But even when you listen to a lot of reggae songs, it even says you have to be using it with intention as well. Yeah. It's a medicine.
It is a medicine. Rastafarian, bro. It's a medicine.
Yeah. Did you have a Rasta on recently on your show?
Rasta? No. He looks like a Rasta. With the dreadlocks. No, he's Peter Pham. He enjoys I think I won't say too much. Maybe he enjoys plant medicine. I don't know.
He looks like.
But he does.
He's a free spirit, bro. This guy's going through the corporate world being a lawyer. And he's like, fuck that. And he's named his law firm after Ma'at, the god of truth.
Who?
Ma'at, M-A-A-T, Egyptian god that weighs...
Ma'at, yes. Ma'at, yes.
I think it's the god of truth.
Isn't Ma'at the one that weighs your heart?
Yeah, it weighs your heart. So I don't know if it's truth or not.
He's a lawyer. To get to that point, of course he's on, what I mean?
Bro, the guy... Deep, do you know how I met him? The guy was fighting for our rights for COVID during that time, man. And that's how I followed him on LinkedIn. And the guy ends up at my house one day from a pizza shop. We met at a pizza shop. I didn't even recognize him. He comes home like, what the fuck? Like, you helped me. And you see how this whole thing's linking up. But yeah, he could be a Rastafarian.
Does he have an accent as well? Or is he an Aussie accent? Or does he have like a bit of a...
born here, but he's Egyptian.
Oh, shit. I thought he was...
Maybe he is. Maybe he should start doing reggae songs.
Like an Anwar.
He's a reggae Egyptian.
Yeah, that punani got me.
Walk like an Egyptian.
But you have to smoke. Yeah, it's intention. It is a medicine. It's a medicine.
And honestly, I wake up because it suppresses REM sleep, right? So obviously it knocks you around, but that's when I was doing it without intention. I would wake up sore and not feel good. Yeah, rip into that.
I'll get it, man.
But I put a really good intention in 2 nights ago. I said, I'm having a flare. Remember when I messaged you? I said, I'm having a flare.
Yeah.
So I'm having a flare up because I had a lot of meat that night. I had some aunties and uncles come over and some cousins for my sister's birthday. And I go to a butcher in Fairlight that makes sausages for me without preservatives, just grass-fed meat and 30% liver.
Oh, that's good.
But I got to freeze them because there's no preservatives. And I had about 6 of them. And then some Scotch fillet and lots of butter. And I just said to myself, man, this is going to tip me over. I know I like my bile ducts are going to be fucking hating me for this. And so I went into a flare. And then I'm like to my missus, I got to smoke. I got to do a blunt tonight. I'm sorry. So basically what I did, I rolled it up. And I got my intention. I wrote 2 pages of intention. I said, I wrote in my intention, I'm having a flare up. I overdid it. And now my body's struggling. I can feel it because I know that the difference between itchy as in hair on my back's growing back, or maybe a scab's itchy because I got scabs from the scratching, but I just put tea tree oil on them and that stops the itching. But this is different. It's a deep burning itch that the bile salts are triggering the nerves under your skin, which is why you have secondary lesions on your arms and legs because you're trying to dig under your skin to scratch it. And I use all these sorts of things to kind of I was using this thing that I called cholestyramine that helps mop up bile salts that people with high cholesterol use. But then I looked at the ingredients. One of the ingredients in it was aspartame, which is one of the shit they put in Coke. It's like a sweetener that gives you fucking cancer. So
it's not good for male reproductive system either.
I stopped using it and found out that organic bentonite clay does the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Does it? Or activated charcoal mops up the bile salts, but the thing is, you've got to take that away from minerals and vitamins and stuff because it can mop up everything.
Yep.
And that's what I used when my microbiome was shifting during carnivore, and my enzymes weren't really working yet, and I was still on a bit of prednisone. I was just having the runs all the time, and nothing was working. And I had a bentonite clay, and it formed my stool up till it was solid, and it helped a lot. So go back to what I was saying. So it was really bad, but I wanted to sleep organically because I know that I had your podcast coming up, and I wanted to sleep because I know that you can be mentally sharp and sometimes you can be a bit rough when you wake up after smoking. So I wrote an intention saying, I'm not feeling well. I'm doing this because I'm not feeling well. I want to wake up rested, and I'm not in a good way. But I did try and fall asleep naturally. But then I woke up after 2 hours and the itching was so intense. And I'm like, oh my God, like I have to smoke.
That'd be hard, dude.
It was so bad. And but then I said, I want to smoke. I want to listen to TV. And you know what I did? I wrote in my intention, I'm going to sit out on the balcony. I'm going to listen to the wisdom of Saint Biasius, the Athonite, the Greek Orthodox saint. And that's what I quoted on the podcast I was on 2 days ago with Nick, which will come out soon. I quoted some things from him because I like to listen to that stuff when I'm smoking because it makes you look a bit more present.
Yep.
And I woke and I wrote also in my intention, I'm not going to wake up groggy. I'm not going to wake up upset or sore. I'm going to wake up optimistic. And I went to work yesterday and had the best day ever, because one of the things that Paisios said that I resonated with me while I was high was that you have to enjoy work. You have to love working. Working is basically the best medicine for the soul. It's work. Do you know what I mean? And he doesn't even say to retire. Don't retire. Keep working. But it doesn't mean physical work or monetary work. This is work. For this, Nick is working right now.
This is work, dude. Yeah. It is. Well,
100%.
There's things that come. But it takes work.
It's nourishing for the soul.
Yeah, you have to have a purpose, dude, to get up, man.
Well,
And you enjoy the purpose. You enjoy it.
Work and purpose need to be the same thing.
Yeah,
you get hold on. You get your whole life.
You're right, though.
And you give how many years, how many hours of your life that's precious to a job that you don't like. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Everything's a choice. It's all up to you.
It is. So you need to find a purpose. You have to find a purpose.
It's not always easy.
And then you ask all these multi-millionaires, billionaires. I'm using them as an example. They say just find something that you enjoy.
Yeah, and things come
and then things will happen. Why? Because you're happy doing it.
I'd like to hear from those guys, the ones that have started from nothing. I find it's very different when you're getting wisdom from generational wealth as opposed to self-made.
Yeah.
But the generational wealth still has benefit and resonance with people because, as they say, it takes one generation to fuck it. So if you've got two, three, 4 generations, and this guy has not only managed to maintain the wealth but add to it, it's not always easy, because a lot of people that grow up with 3, 4, 5 generation wealth are normally just lazy and entitled.
Yeah, well, that's maybe that's why we need a bit of a down. You know what I mean? How did you do the breathing exercise too before?
It's so funny you said that. Yeah. I've just started practicing the 4-7-8. So it's in 4, hold 7, out 8. Yep. But then Paul Chek, going back to him, also said that you have to be breathing from your first inhale from the belly, from the diaphragm.
Yeah.
So when you take that first breath in, you have to push out your gut, and then on the last we'll say like the first 3/4 of that breath and the remainder in through your lungs. Then you hold for 7 seconds, and then you out through your lips for 8 seconds, and that's supposed to calm your parasympathetic nerves, and that's supposed to relax you. So I have been doing that more just to calm myself. So I've been having some outbursts lately. I've been very not frustrated or angry, but just kind of stagnant. and in needing of some change. But then you just need to breathe and reassess and then realize, man, I've got so much going for me that's good. But as I said, sometimes you may take Marcus's lessons too hard and you're too hard on yourself. But also being hard on yourself means giving yourself some reward, because you deserve reward. Especially, for me, I feel like I do a lot, but also I owe a lot to my family. They do a lot too. And it's...
What do you do for yourself though? Like, you're not like you can go get a pizza.
Well, what
or go for a few drinks. Like your rewards are a little bit.
That's one S. That's
that's vice. For me, that's not that's not empowering.
That's how people see that, right? I'm giving myself a reward. Go out and have that.
No, well, what's a reward for you?
A reward for me will honestly be something like. Let me think. So if someone said to me, all right, you've been working hard, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, you get to do one thing today or 2-3 things that you enjoy, and what would that be? I'd say, all right, first and foremost would have to be something with my family. So say I want to take my kids and my wife somewhere. Secondly would be something like this. This is a reward to me. This is a big reward.
It is.
How lucky are we?
Yeah.
Being able to be on a platform to be able to share my thoughts and my wisdoms with everyone. But I'm trying to separate reward from the whole dopamine thing and the chemical reaction. So now a reward for me won't be a pizza. It's not going to be a piece of cake. A reward for me is going to be something spiritually nourishing. So for me, a reward for all my hard work would be, number one, my trip. It's going to come up in July for 5 weeks, but also
Where you going?
US and Mexico.
Fuck.
That's a big reward.
Bring me back some stogies.
Sort you out.
All right. Driver.
But I just want to say one thing quickly. So the fact is, like, people say, go reward yourself, have this, and that's not that's just a very quick, very fizzly burnout wick dopamine hit. Spiritually nourishing, which what you said, that's deep. That's a deep reward.
It's a growth. Man.
And even just sitting here, not even just the fact that we're podcasting and this is going to go on YouTube and whatnot, the fact that I'm actually sitting with us, like 3 boys here and Nick over there, so four gents, enjoying pizza, talking, even if we weren't recording. This is spiritually nourishing for me, and this is a massive reward. I've left my whole life outside over there, and I'm just enjoying myself with 4 mates. Oh, 3 mates, sorry, 3 mates. Like, I'm not separate to myself, so 3 mates.
No,
so this is that, and I like that because I could just imagine some old lady going, enjoy, reward yourself some cakes. Like, no, thanks, Nan or whatever, but this here. So you got to find that's what we ask.
Well, people go buy a boat or a bike or a carrot or something, right? Materialistic. Like I said, you get more out of this, I think
way
that's
more out of this.
Yeah, it's important why even, it doesn't matter husbands and wives, they have groups, go play netball with your friends or go join a soccer team or be part of something, go to the gym. A lot of guys I speak to, they work and they go to the gym on the way home, and that's their little reward, and they go home. But I think talking amongst mates about deep stuff, so much better, mate. Yeah. I'm going for stuff too. We're all got, we're all going for stuff.
What stuff are you going through?
Oh, man, where do I start?
We're like, Aidan's opened up a lot here, and God bless him because
I like being vulnerable. Yes, and I expect everyone that comes on my podcast and everyone I speak to offer the same vulnerability because that's how that's how we mine. That's how we mine a vein of gold. Yeah, to being vulnerable.
Well, I've got just everywhere I look, work's quiet. Again, and that's upsetting for it to be quiet. It's a gluten-free, dude. Why don't you have it? Yeah.
Fucking gluten-free. You can't even
that.
You can't even fucking. Let me try this one.
Yeah, try it. But look, work's quiet, which is quite sad. It's okay, but again, I want to be pumping, dude. And then health-wise, I'm getting there by my neck as well. That's going to take a lot of time.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
That gluten-free, fucking get that away from me. It's disgusting. That's fucking disgusting. That base, like, your ancestors will be crying right now.
They will be crying.
Yep.
It's actually not the best. But I've got this here.
Right. Coming back to what you're saying, all right, because I know I'm known as Stodgy, the guy that interrupts and fucks everyone's flow. I'm sorry.
I don't mind that, dude.
Coming back to that, can you link up work slowing down in your industry, in your job, and your injury and what you're going through, and the fact that you actually have to slow down physically and heal that?
Thank you, Stodgy.
Okay, well, that's all I'm going to say. Next, I love you, dude. Next problem that we need, we should probably call up and we'll start. We should probably get people to call up or send messages and tell us what's going on. We just discuss it.
One day we'll get there.
I honestly, just before you divulge into answering Stodgy's question, and you nourish us with the fruit from your tree. It's I would absolutely relish in the opportunity to be able to have someone call in and to me be able to give them advice, but not in terms of like a Kyle and Jackie O, Kyle Sanderlands giving some kind of ridiculous heathen advice. I feel like in my 27 years, I've been through just enough to be able to help a general base of people with everything, and even call up or leave comments, and then every next episode, then we can then address those comments and give advice.
I want to do that.
Let's do it. No, let's do
The
it.
Dad podcast.
That can be the premise of our new show.
This is where, like, obviously I've got this little segment. But yeah, man, we might branch off.
For you. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, but I got you guys here.
Yeah.
This is, like you said, manifestation, dude.
Well,
Look, you got your podcast now. We've become really close. You are family, man. I don't care.
I just
what
want to
part of, mate. Fuck, it's.
I've been sitting patient, bro. I've got a couple of things to say.
You want more
right?
pizza?
Nah, fuck that off. You said 27. You're only 27.
I know.
I will be 28 in August, but I'm 27.
Yeah, fucked.
I know,
2
dude.
kids. I'm 35. I'm delayed, bro. I don't know what's going on with
What
me.
is that? Let's get vulnerable now.
I'm still a little kid inside,
What
mate.
is it?
I don't know.
I can pinpoint where it all changed for me, but like it's not a fucking race.
No, it's not
you
a
know,
race,
no,
and we're going to
no.
happen. I've got enough testosterone.
Yeah, he just
there
wants
to-
kids. Stodge wants a family. And this guy.
Everyone should want a family. People that don't want kids, I can't believe that stuff,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Well, I don't look. If someone doesn't want kids and their mindset is very much bent on not having them, then don't have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point bringing in a kid to
Father
a
of
parent
the
that
year.
doesn't want them.
Father of the year, that person will be, you know what I
No
mean?
one's making you have them, but like
Yeah.
if you don't want them, don't have them.
Or keep your pants in, or wear protection.
But you can't even wear protection. Why? Because they did a study and they found there's all fucking PFAs and toxic chemicals in condoms and lube.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, haven't you ever heard of the sticky belly or the sticky upper back? Just have a bit of self control.
Yeah, that's.
I'm just worried that the pre-cum also has got some stuff in there, mate, you know?
That happens.
You know?
That happens. That's the thing. Like you say,
It's
you
a
don't want a
PJ
baby.
podcast.
The way sex is now, like people may just put it in and doing their thing.
Yeah,
The way
it-
sex
it's-
is now as opposed to when.
Well, you know, I don't know. No, people maybe didn't do it as much.
bullshit.
The hairy
That
muff.
reminds me of
that was the
fucking
best.
missionary, mate.
That
That
was the
reminds
best.
me
I
of
love it.
Vikings. You ever watch the Vikings?
Yeah,
you ever watch
yeah.
the fucking Tessie Pop? You ever
They're
watch the
just
show
going.
Vikings?
Yeah.
In the very first season, one of the princesses is like trying to like. The mum sets him up with this Swedish king who's ugly, and then there's like this scene where like he's on top of her like heaving, and then he goes oh, and then he gets up, he goes lies in bed next to her, and she's just like so indifferent and just upset, and he's like, "Oh, that should be our first child."
And they did.
Well, I mean,
But they didn't have sprayed food,
but
though.
what's
They had
the
organic
act,
food.
What's the act of sex? Like the main thing is procreation. That's not that is the thing is the
Yeah.
procreation. I think just human nature and dopamine, everything's turned it into this absolute debaucherous dopamine chase,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is fantastic. It's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but if you can say it, you know,
But
it's not good for the young ones, man.
No,
'Cause they're
but-
entering into that, and then it's taken away that.
But but the thing is, it's still lovemaking. It's
Yeah,
still
100%.
it's something that's very vulnerable, intimate, and it's just getting wasted out the window with chicks going on and recording on OnlyFans. 583 guys in one session.
dude,
It ends
how
up in
bad-
fucking hospital.
Dude, was that
Are you
legit?
Can I just say,
Who's that-
who are you going to marry? Who's
Did
that?
you see
Who
that?
would marry that?
580.
I don't mean to see that.
Who
Sorry.
lines up for that?
I wasn't there. I
They all had
promise.
masks on,
the
man.
back of the line.
You see his hair coming out of his
I'll be the last one. You know, no, but people do line up for that because they're. I mean, go back to the podcast we did with your friend, Goddess Jade.
Yes.
And there are people that do that, and there is that lifestyle out
Yeah.
there. But the thing is, it is fun, but it comes back to procreation, which is having children,
and
which
it's
is
just
the act. Once you finish and stuff, it is, eggs get fertilized.
Yeah, I think we abuse that.
A lot.
I had a junkie, a drug-addled person, give me this crazy advice once.
I love it.
Because I always feel like, and when we talk about drug addicts, I remember my dad told me something interesting, and he said that, there is a notion out there that says people that are addled by drugs and have schizophrenia are stuck in another dimension. And although they have a lot of enlightening things to say because they've been to realms that people can't go to without the aid of a mind-altering substance, whether it be a psychedelic or heroin or whatever, especially the ones that are naturally derived, like opium and whatever. Fentanyl won't give you any enlightenment, but, at least heroin, when you're zoned out, you can see fucking shapes and stuff, geometry. But, there was this one fella, his name's Simon, who was a Tongan guy. He grew up with my dad. And he had gone through so much drugs and so much problems that he was addled, but he had these tiny nuggets of wisdom all the time. And one time he said to me, when we were talking, he said to me, "Do you know why some people end up having botched relationships, or the kids are born with disabilities, or the kids are fucked or something. It's because they're not conceived with pure thought or pure intention.
Dude.
So he goes, when you're having sex, and he goes, if you're just sitting there having sex and you're going to do the deed in completion to be able to have kids, so you're going to like inside, then he goes, if you're thinking about the neighbor's chick or the receptionist at the gym, he goes, that's not a pure way to conceive a child. So he goes, the orgasm itself, he goes, is basically, if you could put a palpable feeling on the furnace of creation, he goes, that's what that is. Because he goes, imagine you're creating life, and that's what it feels like to create life.
Yes. Dude, that's so true, man.
So I remember when I was conceiving my first child.
Tell me, please. Yes.
The neighbours would have been upstairs watching TV, just hearing someone slightly downstairs going, "I am God."
Adonis! Odysseus!
The furnace of creation is inside you.
Zeus, see me now. Oh my God.
Look upon my offspring and despair.
It has happened. It is done.
You know what? That makes so much sense.
That is so true.
Because it should start at that.
Her legs should be on the fucking up in the chandeliers, mate. Simple as that.
Screaming for it. Too.
And that's
it's got to
it.
work both.
No, it's got, you literally have to have electricity and light there, and you should just be like with a couple of minutes you can't move. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Dude, that makes sense.
Let it all drain out.
I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
But in saying that, since you are so open and vulnerable there, I'm going to be open and vulnerable.
Yes.
I'm literally
my
going to
wife
be.
says when she hears it.
I'm literally going to be saving my first cream pie
Oh fuck!
for. No, I'm being serious.
Dana's pie.
I don't want to go. I could have gone that way.
First cream pie is an American pie.
Yeah, American pie. All right, sorry. Okay, I just don't know what to say to that, but okay. I love your family. I want to come over for Christmas
But
dinner.
when you start your cream,
But hold on, the first one I'm saving.
Dana Stodge loved it so much he took it into the bathroom.
No, I couldn't do that. I'll desecrate it. That's dirty.
Yeah, it looks like that's what happened to that pizza.
Oh, I can do more
All
than
right,
that.
please continue.
Listen,
before you lose your train of
I'm
thought.
saving my first experience in that.
Your first time having sex.
No,
his
the
first
first
call
time
of the
to
Greek
fucking to fertilise the eggs, mate.
When he knows
Not a
he's
virgin.
No, I'm not. Definitely not. Nah, mate.
Saving
Nah.
himself.
Nah.
That's
The
when he'll cut
first
his
one,
hair.
I'm going to say this on the
like
podcast.
Samson.
I'm going to save it for procreation, the actual when you want kids, that whole experience. So when your child comes out and they're all fucking like, I remember that night. But
Are you saying you've never cream pied without a prophylactic or anything?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Interesting.
yeah, never have.
makes
And
me
it's been a personal choice. It's been a personal choice.
So deep.
Yeah, no, that's it, because there's meaning
Awesome.
behind it. It's
Nice.
meaning behind it. I'm saving it because it's such a the thing is, everyone fucks without condoms now and all that type of stuff, and bloody fucking what's the hormonal drugs and bloody
Oh my God,
pregnancy
birth
blockers
control
and
is
birth
the
control.
fucking biggest-
That's the word I was looking
Biggest
for.
unregulated
Birth
experiment
control.
on women.
They're all doing that, this and that. I'm like, no, fuck it. I didn't even realize, but I'm just literally, I want to save it for that first time. So I want my firstborn to be a strong Viking that will rape and pillage the world and take over with, Adonis and Odysseus.
Vladimir.
I'm going to call him Vladimir
Vladimir
Putin.
the Great.
But I'm being serious. Like, if we're going to open up about that, I don't know how I'm going to feel. Nick, you might need to edit this part out because I've
Edit
got
nothing.
No.
I've got
Raw.
a persona. I've got an image to play like the Stodge father. Like
you
I've
are the
got,
Stodge
I've got,
father.
I probably do have children out there in the world that I don't know about. You know, condoms break this and that. You know, they could lie to you.
But it won't be strong.
Didn't pull out fast enough. You know, it's like. Anyways, I've got to be really careful because there's a lot of people, different people watch this podcast. I have to keep it to a PG level because I love your family, Daniel, and I don't want them to see me any different. I get your dad on my podcast. He's just looking at me like this. He's just staring at me. It's like, you need a haircut, mate. But it's honestly, it's a choice, and I think we take it away from how special it is. You're creating kids, mate. It's life.
It makes me think that what my dad was thinking when he.
I thought you were about to
conceived
say.
me.
I was thinking about what my fucking
ask him
dad.
now.
My mum must have been
Makes sense.
thinking. My mum must have been thinking, I can't wait for this fucking guy to get off me. And my dad's probably thinking about all the bloody debaucherous thing he's done in his life. God,
Probably
mate.
thinking he has to get a lawyer to sue fucking Durex.
Oh, like. Yeah, when I think about it, like, fuck, you know. Actually, when you see some people out there, it's like, what were your parents thinking about when you were conceived?
Well, and it comes to even being during birth as well coming out, they say, man.
Yeah, yeah, but you can't always have like beautiful thoughts because sometimes some women go through some, you know, horrendous things. But you look at like how close I am with my mum, and a lot of it is there because she was alone during pregnancy and then alone when she was giving birth to me. You know, it was very difficult for her, so I can understand why I've got such a close connection to my mum, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Like, and you see the way your parents are divorced as well.
Oh, they were never married.
Well, they never married.
No,
Okay,
they
well,
never
they
married.
weren't together. So you sort of, as you get older, you work out things as well.
Yeah, you do.
When you get to a certain age too, you know.
That's why retrospect is so important. Looking back and understanding the links in life, and not just going through just like
blaming everything on
You
else.
can't blame everything. You actually have to look. So I look at what we've contributed to, and we manifest everything in our lives. We do manifest everything in our lives. Some people would say, "Oh, some horrendous things happen to people." I get that, but I'm just okay. Maybe not that. I don't know. I'm just talking about our lives, but maybe that too.
That does, man. Like, I think
that our internal self and our internal conflicts and what goes on comes out and is projected into the world to show you. It's a mirror, you know. And I went through a moment like last week. I was having a cigar and some rakia in my greenhouse. God, I love that greenhouse. And I realized something that last year, in November, I went to Queensland. So I went to go do my massage, my kahuna massage, which I will offer to all of you guys if you want to. Yeah, it's a special.
You did a massaging course?
Yeah, it's a massaging course,
awesome.
but it's on a different level. It's on a different level. I think everyone needs to experience one of these massages in their lifetime. Like
Oh my
it's
God.
deeply spiritual.
This is a ties into something I wanted to start doing at work that we could possibly do together.
Oh yeah.
No, but keep going.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that. Turkish massage is hectic. You should do that. But when I went to the course, there's this one, there's a hill up at the High Spirits retreat. There's a hill at the back, and they have this one like a totem, like built for Lady Lokahi. I can't remember exactly what she's for, but a lot of it's for like letting go and calling in for things that you want in your life. And what I did was, I was like, oh, I wonder, what do I want to let go of? And I guess at that point I knew that I really wasn't happy with what I was doing with work and where I was, you know? So I took my work boots. I said, oh, I'll leave these behind. And then I was like, didn't realize, in myself, I said, I want to leave behind the old way of walking.
Of
Walking, of the way that I've been walking in my life, the way that I've been going through life. That's why I left my boots there.
makes sense, yeah.
You know, and I broke when I built my greenhouse. I fell off the ladder. And I broke my ankle because I was very angry at the time and things were going on, and anger and me don't mix. Like I become a lunatic, just like my dad, and a lot of men that have unhealed trauma. And so what I did was I went there, spoke with Lady Lakahi, and I left my boots. And you know when you have those moments when you want to manifest something in your life, you want to leave something behind, or you feel like you've achieved something, so you're like, oh, I really want this, and you breathe it in, and you're like, yeah, I can feel it, but you don't feel it. Like you walk a couple minutes later, you're down, but the feeling leaves you. Like you haven't, like nothing's really been achieved. You're like, and you feel flat. Well, when I left my boots there, I remember just this feeling of sadness and this feeling of emptiness. I was like, fuck, I've actually done something now. And I said, the main thing I said was, I want to leave the old way of walking, the way that I've been, the anger, with work, with my life, with everything. And then I started walking away down the hill, and I looked back, and I remember looking at my boots, and I said, I've done some. I knew it in myself. I've done something that's I can't change now. Like I'm walking this path now. I'm walking what I've just asked for. It's happening, and I felt that sadness. But what it was as well was I completely emptied my cup. And when you empty your cup, and you have to fill it through with good things that you want in your life. You give yourself a chance now. So I've said, I'll let go of that. I'll leave it there. Now you need to bring the things that you want. So because I've done it a few times before through ceremonies and whatnot, I understand that feeling. Other people sometimes won't understand that feeling and what's going on, and then they just go back to the old way of life. Anyways, as I was going through, I did all my massage, did all the things and stuff, and then all the crazy stuff happened after. Like when I was driving back, my old man ended up in hospital because of his liver cirrhosis from his drinking. So I thought he almost died. So then I'm just looking at all these things in my life in the greenhouse, looking back to left the boots, things with the missus over there, things with my dad and liver cirrhosis and almost fucking dying, coming back to work and just working. And eventually that shit itself. And I didn't realize why, but that's because it shit itself because I've left something behind. These things are happening which I'm not resolving, or I am resolving, and work's also a part of it. So now that needs to get resolved. And I'm just sitting there just like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. So, and plus I left work boots behind. Work finished because they were animals and things that they were doing. But I realized that the universe was showing. It's a pattern, but the universe is showing that you like, mate, if you open up your eyes, it's there. You can't stay. The way that it was done was you can't stay here anymore. You have to go. It's not like, oh, it's okay to take it as a lesson, do better. It's like, no, what happened at work, I physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually could not stay there anymore. So I had to make the decision I have to go. So I resigned. And I'm just thinking there in my greenhouse thinking, fucking, why has this all happened? And then I look back and I put it all together and I realized healing with my dad over all the years, and finally now it's coming to a head because he got sick. He almost died. And now my relationship with him's never been better. And then there's other things that I have to sort of start to resolve in my life. It's there. I've done it.
Yeah, but to be able to resolve those things, you have to go for this. It's
you
like
have to.
Like letting all that stuff go.
Yeah.
As like you want something, you got to go for a bit of pain, don't you?
You have to go through pain, bro. What's life with no pain? Storm, you have to, mate.
Yeah, when you want to grow or heal, when you take a different change in a pattern, whether it's work, relationship, you know.
We're the ones that give, what's the word here? We're the ones that actually give pain the meaning or give pain a story. Yeah. We're the actually ones that when pain happens, we put, oh, it's because of this or it's because of that. We're the ones that, same thing with trauma. We're the ones that put like an idea towards it and then store it and keep it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so when you have this over all the years, and now I'm at 35, and so you're 27, God bless you, you know, beautiful family, all that type of stuff. And then I'm like, I'm at 35.
Yeah.
I'm so far behind because I know that I've had all these things that I'm still dealing with. And I don't even know what the fuck's going on. But now I do have an idea. I don't know where it's going to take me. But the fact is, I know that there is a lot of healing taking place, and the power of manifestation is it's there. It's there.
When all that baggage is gone, just quickly, then, as you said, once that cup is empty and that pain is gone, you can then start filling it with children and with...
You can.
And you can fill her up.
Yes, the whole cup.
The whole cup. Nothing but the cup.
But also, the thing is that people need to remember is that when you go to manifest and go to do these things and you empty your cup, you can always fill it back with the same shit again if you're not careful. That's why you have to plan, you have to prepare, you have to go deeply spiritually within, you have to subscribe to our podcast so you can listen.
Exactly what I said about carnivore. When you get to the 6-month mark, what are you going to do after that? Yeah. You have to plan. What are you going to do after it? It's a fucking lifestyle change.
I'm sorry that I stopped after a month, Aidan. Like, is there anything else you want me to say?
But it is, mate.
It's a big metaphor for life, though.
It is.
And you pretty much nailed it. As in, like, now this is a not only a mindset change. When your mindset changes and your whole life changes, it's very easy for us to say none of us are perfect. We're all hypocrites. But
oh, fuck yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, this is the journey. And if you truly believe that, you know, we're here numerous times, you know, we keep coming back to we learn the same lessons.
Yeah.
So we learn the lessons. But I'll be honest with you, like, what is it without pain and suffering? It's just boring.
That's right.
George Costanza would say it's just masturbation.
Yes.
I think secretly deep down I like pain and suffering, man.
Well, but is this because this is why when I say my neck, I went to physio the other day and I've told him, I said, man, I think I manifested this.
You did?
In a weird way. As I was running with everything, exercise, sports, parenting. I didn't stop, dude. And I thought, even being single, you know, meeting up with ladies or whatever, it just kept going. And then it got to a point where this will happen, you know.
Yeah.
And it was meeting the right person, starting the podcast, and then having the operation straight after. And I was like, that's what taught me. And it's like this pattern. Why did this lady come into my life? Why did this podcast come up? Why did work go quiet? You know, and then this happened physically. It's like the spiritual realm coming into the physical realm and going boom. You got to stop, slow down.
There's no distance and difference between those two realms. They do this, and the veil. They're interrelated. There's a multiverse out there.
Oh, there is.
And you walk one, you walk the other, and it's truly. It's a mystery. That's why the Native Americans say great mystery. It's a mystery. You can't label what's going on. You just have to have faith. And then at times, the mystery, God and the universe will show you gifts and show you things through intuition, through vision, through, exchanges in your life that you can start putting together. That's why you have to stay very present and take notice of what's going on.
And react, and also going stoic too, is how you react,
of course,
because that will cause an effect. So you know all the stuff you're going through, dude. Like you listen to Stojcevski, you're into that stuff, right? It's gold, man.
It really is.
It is.
It's just in your perception of things. Your problems are basically honestly 10% the problem and 90% how you react to it.
Of course.
You know, and I don't always believe that. You know, for all the people out there that are Christians or believe that there are signs. I don't think God gives you signs. I think everything is a sign. There are opportunities all around you.
That's true.
And at the end of the day, a sign doesn't mean it's lucky. I think Socrates or Plato, one of those two, once said, do you want to know what luck really is? Luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. And that's exactly what it says in the Bible, what it says when Peter, he says as well, we have to be prepared for these things. We need preparation. But having said that, though, how can we listen to him from the biblical way of speaking? Because he talks about being prepared, when trouble comes, when adversity comes, you need to be ready for it. Especially though, Christ said in the Beatitudes, blessed are those who are persecuted in my name, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, I think. I'm reading a book now about the Beatitudes. I don't know if that's the right one, but blessed are those that are, persecuted because of me. And, Peter denied Christ 3 times in the garden. And, he still writes in the Bible, in his books, about being prepared, which makes him a hypocrite, right? Because he was not prepared. He writes about this preparation, but yet he still denied Jesus. But having said that, though, I read this in Shaped by Suffering, the book by Kenneth Boer. He wrote this, but I annotate and highlight through every book that I read. And I annotated in this saying, he said, hypocritical of Peter to write these passages in his letters. But having said that, though, he's the one we should be listening to because he did it. You know what I mean? So if he betrayed Jesus and talks about how betrayed him, he denied him, then talks about being prepared when this situation happens, well, from someone that actively went back on his teaching and now is saying, hey, you really do need to be prepared. It just makes it so much more...
Yeah, it's human, dude. Makes mistakes. Yeah. He gets driven. The devil takes over.
Well, which is why you should listen to it because he lived it. And there's no point taking advice from someone that hasn't done anything,
Exactly.
And I wish, I said like my retaining is not that good, and I could have retained.
You're horrible, dude.
I could have retained what that book said so much better, but
we'll edit it. We'll voice over.
He's a truth seeker.
He's a truth seeker.
Truth seeker. It's one of our mates, Mario. Truth seeker. I love listening to that. That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
So.
Dude, mate, all right, what's time?
How long have we been talking for?
I don't know. Oh, jeez.
Hour and a half. Let's go to 3 hours. Put your house on it.
He's got a thing.
Who cares if he's got a thing, bro?
I know.
He's here because we're here.
Yeah.
You don't always get Aidan Biasi in the studio.
We're here because you're here.
Sunday. You
don't have to.
They got a podcast coming out too, talking about parenting, wasn't it? About everything. Yeah.
That's listen. I'll need that.
Did you ask the Stodge father? Why didn't you bring the?
I'll teach you about parenting. Just beat your kids. Did I hear something right that a foster parent smacked a child and was going to court for it? Is that illegal now to smack your child?
Oh, it's getting there, dude.
I think it's coming to a point.
What type of smack? Like, are we talking about smack like that?
Mate.
We're talking about...
They can call the police. Anything, mate. Anything sort of physical.
I think it's isolated incidents. Like, if my son's playing up and, he was playing up this morning, my son, man. He was throwing shit and he dropped a whole container of bloody pumpkin seeds on the floor that I had to clean up.
Did you know you were going?
Hey?
Did you usually spend Tuesdays with him?
Yeah, it's my day off. So
There you go.
no, but it wasn't so much that. He was just being a little shit. And, you know, and I grabbed his hand and I said, like, hey, bum. I said, no, all right, see this mess? This isn't good. When daddy tells you no, you have to stop. And I looked at him and said, what's the matter? Just breathe, just relax, boy. Like, it's fine. But he's still 2. And even his daycare said on his little notes about it, he said he's still working on a little bit of, you know, his emotions. He still can't process them yet.
And his brother, he's got a brother now.
But he's 2 years
But
old.
because he looks so old, we forget that he's 2 because he's a man-child. So
But you're right, he's 2.
But he's 2 years
But
old.
he
How
is
dare
2.
Control your emotions. What the fuck?
Yes.
If only he could speak.
Yeah, how dare you have another brother, you know?
Well, I think the only way they can learn to really rein in their emotions is by doing these things and by me reining them in for him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he doesn't know he's doing anything wrong.
That's your job.
100% it's the parent's job. But, you know, I'll give him a little... Like, sometimes, honestly, like, I get frustrated and there was a time where I was hitting him a lot more than I really should have. Whereas, like, you know, now I just grab his hand and I'll say, no, say, look what you've done. But sometimes you just need to smack their bottom. And honestly, I don't think I've ever met anyone that would ever say, oh, look at what he's doing. No, I think all of these incidences are very isolated and you'll find majority of people would have no problem with you disciplining your child. Because it's always the blue-haired, single, you know, have taken 40 dicks in one day kind of people that always want to tell
Blondie
you...
blue.
That's true.
They want to tell you how to do things, you know, without, you know, and as we said, who are they? Who are they? It's silly.
What sort of they give them for the future if you don't discipline that way, you know? Can't just sort of a 2-year-old explaining why he needs a bit of a smack on the culo.
Yeah, always. You know, he's a naughty kid. He's just, like I said, I wouldn't change him for anything. I mean, having had my older son is so rambunctious and naughty. He's so full of personality. And then to think you could have a placid kid that just listens and you don't want that, you know.
You want character, dude.
Yeah, he's such a character, man.
You want character.
Honestly.
You want character.
He so is, and I can't wait. Like, for me, growing up, and we look back on... See, for example, we all say we have trauma from our parents, right?
Yeah.
But this doesn't necessarily mean trauma is in bad trauma is in abuse. This is just... Trauma is in things that have gone unresolved that we then heal. As Stodgy has said, he's healed with his father, is in the process of doing it. Yeah. Not that, you know, he was beat or bashed. I hope that you weren't.
No, I wasn't.
But it's more...
I was disciplined.
Yeah, discipline. But the trauma comes from basically... The reason why your father did this or your parents did this is unexplained and was never explained to you, which then manifests itself into something traumatic because you never closed that chapter. That book is still open. And so essentially I look back on the trauma that I've got with my family and I said, okay, well, how can I fix this for my kids? So one of the things I disliked that my dad always did was I hated the whole because I said so. I always thought that I had the mental capacity at that age to be able to have things explained to me, but my dad was not a person to explain things to you. It was just you do as I fucking say, and that should be enough for you. Whereas no, I want to sit down with my kids and explain, knowing that my circumstances are very different to my dad's, but I want to be able to sit there and say, you can't do this because, or I want you to do this because, or we're eating this for breakfast today because I said so is just going to cause dissent. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to just and even something that gives me so much purpose in life is thinking like, how am I going to decorate his room?
Oh, no, dude, that's
like,
nasty.
Camo.
Like at the moment,
Are you going to do it or is he going to do it?
At the moment, it's so nice, and I've got like if I had to all right, let's just say if there's 2 things that I have like awesome, cool daydreams about, it's how I would set up my man cave and how I would set up my son's rooms. So I'll start with the kids' rooms because then you and I can vibe on that, but then we can all talk about how we'd want our ideal man cave.
Or even podcast studio. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
Like honestly, beautiful books. Books. But then on the walls, there'd be markers. But the most powerful one that you can think of, as in like, you know, the color of your soul is a direct reflection of your thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Paraphrasing it. But then also, having said that, you want also the Beatitudes on the walls. Blessed are this, blessed are that. But you also want something else there that he can wake up every morning and look and say, you know, what did Marcus Aurelius say? Every morning when you arise out of bed, remember what a privilege it is to be alive, to love, to listen, to work, to have relations. That should be the first thing you do when you wake up, is have gratitude. But then also, having said that, I want a section for icons as well, as he's already got icons in his room. I've got icons in my room. and just a colourful thing where he can truly be himself. Because when I had four other siblings, and my room was the centre of my world. It is the most inward expression of your personality. I had posters, books, I had everything, because my room is basically the material embodiment of me, is your bedroom. And then I think, all right, so what is that? When you get married, obviously anything that's your reflection of anything is up to your wife, so forget about it.
Yeah, the swords and the
Forget
about it. My room now is fucking floral sheets, but I go back to
man cave. That's where
the man cave. It's literally books and icons and a laptop where I can just sit there and be a scholar.
Bigger version of your kids.
I would love that.
On a day, with your big pipe or your big joint.
So I don't believe in chucking books away, because I can't give them away, because I highlight through them, so no one.
Yeah,
will
but
take
they
them.
probably won't be around.
I've got all my books still, every single book.
Never give them away.
Even my mum's romance novels. Because you never know. We might go through a time when there's no more TV. We're living out in the caves. If I can read a romance novel.
You're going to UG's on your phone, mate. You're going to read some romance.
That's it, mate. Books.
Fucking part of me would not even care, eh? Like, honestly.
No, you wouldn't.
Like, books.
Yeah, books are the best.
And then I want like fucking big like timber boards on the walls. Get that really just like old rustic feeling happening in there. Big leather couches, humidor in the corner.
If you had to have a big poster of somebody, like, because I'm reading a book now on Rasputin. It's his most in-depth biography, the most accepted one from Douglas Smith is the author, and I'm reading the biography of Rasputin, the most controversial figure of the 20th century. And I think if I had a man cave, I want a big fucking poster of him.
What's he? Tell me, what's he? Explain.
You never heard of Rasputin?
I've heard of him.
But
so he's basically this Siberian peasant from Pokrovsky, I think is the village in Siberia where he was from. And basically they used to call him like a straniki, which was basically a wandering monk that would walk around in search of like a pilgrimage of spiritual fulfillment. But then he somehow managed to work his way up into the imperial family, and basically became their like spiritual teacher, because at that point in Russia, everyone was into mysticism and everything, because they obviously weren't getting enough of that from the Orthodox faith, because something about it just was, it's a very, very, very Orthodox country, but for whatever reason, a lot of the people that are involved in all that are very much drawn to mysticism and all that kind of stuff. So there was a very big occult kind of, because I guess the church back in the day put so much oppression on so many things that people were drawn to the occult. So anyway, he had this hypnotic healing power and basically was the catalyst for the Russian Revolution. So they killed him and then Russia fell. Like it's a very condensed version of it, but he is a very polarizing figure. And after reading this book, I honestly think that he was a normal person that had his flaws but had powers. And I think that he's just an amazing character and one of those awesome characters from history. And I said, if I had to have a poster of anyone, I'd have a poster of him.
Dude, I'm going to listen to that book.
Yeah, Rasputin.
It's a massive book. It's like this fucking thing.
I'll read it over 6 years.
You got time. You got a few weeks off, dude.
Yeah, I want to read your dad's book.
Finish that first.
I would have a big poster of Tito.
Tito.
President Tito.
Too tough for Stalin.
President Tito. He's the one that kept Yugoslavia together, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
What's so special about him?
Are you a very nationalistic Slav?
I've got no idea, mate.
I'm
not everything.
Do you not buy into it too much? Do you think nationalism's dangerous, or you think it's just a political propaganda tool to brainwash people?
I think everything has its own purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think that my personal belief is that you can't have like a Russia and a Yugoslavia together, so close together, that part of the world. Simple. So one of them had to get broken. So they're still trying to break down Russia now, but they broke apart Yugoslavia.
Do you think what's going on in Russia now is a massive psyop to kind of demonize that whole thing of the Ukraine and stuff?
Of course. You don't have to believe, mate.
No.
Look at.
Not do you believe? We do believe. Obviously, we know that it's just a big money laundering waste of fucking time cesspool that the Ukraine is.
The whole
but
thing, dude.
but what? But it just makes me think like what is this with this stupid West versus East, Russia versus everything else? Like I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Because I'm doing a lot of reading into Russia now. Honestly,
the New World Order thing.
I
is
think
beautiful place.
Actually.
So they're both like.
Russia. We saw Russia and Thailand, right? We'll talk about this quickly.
Yeah, but that
it was a bit crazy.
But is that the cream of the crop of Russians, or are they the real opportunistic ones
no,
that
he just told
slave drive lady boys to give massages?
No, he and his wife. Yeah. He had his wife there. We were there for like 3 hours, man. He popped out of the water even. Just, you're not in Russia.
It was actually,
he was hilarious. You would have loved having
his name was Daniel as well.
Daniel, he was a funny bloke. Dude.
You know, you just asked the question. My mind's like, after all that carbs that I just had, I can't really comprehend it.
Oh, he's committed carbicide.
But coming down to, just for me, just in real basic terms, it comes down to power play, but it also comes down to, you know, like Russia's always been traditional. It's deeply rooted. Don't finish my raki off. Leave the last one for me.
I'm leaving that for you.
You son of a, you know, you can. It's actually, I've got to be a good Serb. You can have that, or a masso. It's no. I've got to drive. We all got to drive. They're deeply rooted faith. You look at the other country in the West. Like it should be deeply rooted faith, because it was based on, a lot of it was Christian national values and whatnot. But I think it's power plays, it comes down to control always, but then also comes down to, I believe, religion as well, and comes down to values. So Russia's a lot of traditional values, and look what the fuck's going on in America now. A lot of the traditional values are gone. Mm-hmm. You know, and then look at Australia. It's got no traditional values whatsoever.
What is Australia now,
Australia's a cesspool. It's turning into one.
Beautiful prison.
Well, the immigration coming through, I reckon that's who voted for.
And I just want to clarify one sec that if someone says, I was born in this country, I'll die for this country, all right? Mm. And also the motherland, Serbia, Macedonia, but maybe not Macedonia. But the thing is, what's happening with this country right now, and how a lot of our values are being eroded with the current government. It's just gone to shit.
It's horrible, dude.
It's horrible. All the immigration going through, Australians, new couples and first home buyers can't even buy property. But now it's like the government's coming to save you. So the government will chip in with you. It's like, no. I want to own it.
So.
I want to own it. Your parents own the home. Your grandparents own the home. Your parents own the home. My dad owns a home. Now I've got my own home. So thank you. So all the hard-working immigrants came through, but now it's just turned to shit.
Yeah, that's turned to shit.
Definitely trying to price you out of it to the point where they will then take on the rest of that debt for you. But you know, this is the thing.
But the government will then own.
They will own it.
Everything.
But this is the whole Agenda 2030.
Exactly. And if you own your own home, your rates will go up. Your taxes will go up. Your wages will go down. Inflation, everything. You won't be able to afford anymore. The government will come in and buy it.
Yep.
And then what's happening? You're going to go live like Judge Dredd.
Credit score, man.
Credit score. My credit score is awesome right now. Judge Dredd, you'll go live in a 15-minute city.
Yep.
In some tower up the top, and you won't have your own backyard, and you look at it. Yeah, it's coming. And
it is coming.
We're going to be talking apocalypto, whatever. These guys here are conspiracy theorists. It's fucking coming. Tune in 5 years from now.
Yeah, this is why I want to keep this going, guys. I think
for another 5 years.
No, if we get there.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'm telling you, I tell my mates we've got 5 years.
I've got 30 years, bro. That's how I'll be doing broadcasts from a cave, bro.
I've got a controversial view.
What is
it? Please tell us.
I
want to hear it.
Because Nick does have to. He has got something on.
This is the last.
This is the last thing. With Aidan.
We'll keep talking. We'll keep talking.
But I feel like now the curtain's rolling back. Not the Iron Curtain, but the curtain of what we grew up knowing as fact in terms of like what we were told. So for me now, when COVID happened, you know, that's when a lot of us had our awakening on, hang on, okay, do I have to relearn everything? And the answer is yes, you do. Mm-hmm. And second of all, any nationalism I had for this country, and now I'm starting to think, all right, what's nationalism to me? Nationalism is getting out Italian colours during the World Cup. Celebrating our culture, even if it is shit pizza. But having said that, that's as far as it goes for me. Would I be willing to put my life on the line for Australia? I don't think so. The Chinese fucking came and said, forget about it, guys. Here we are. Start, ni hama, All right, well, mate, I'll collaborate with you, overthrow my government. Matter of fact, I'll fucking help you do it.
Yeah, dude, this is
the AFP coming in right now.
Like, sorry, Kate, this is what I was telling people. If we might be Russia or China, what would you choose?
Russia, because
I said the Russia as well. I'll go Russia. Why would
you want the fucking fucking secular communists? No way, man. At least they're still holding on to their values. And there's nothing wrong with Russia. When it comes to the leaders, they're all part of that cabal. But when you look at Russia, man, Russia is like fucking. They're
they breed with
he
themselves too. do these
rides
guys help?
horses, bro.
Yeah.
Putin rides horses.
You know, he's jiu-jitsu black belt, mate. Well, what's our leader?
One thing that I want to say is, I said I'll die for this country. The thing is, what I'll die for is my friends and my neighbours, and I'm that type of person. I think we all are. Like, if something came down, like if my government was getting overthrown, I'm not going to go defend it.
Fuck
Like,
no! Look what
you know,
they do
fuck
to you,
'em.
man. They
But
do
well,
nothing
if
for
they
you.
said conscription's coming and you have to go overseas to fight, put me in jail.
I honestly don't think it would. Actually, you know what? I
They
lie. I
change
think
the-
there
they
will be
change the
some.
laws.
I think that no, as in like the whole thing with conscription is they say, will everyone fall for it? And this is the one thing that really fucking pisses me off about Anzac Day, right? And to all you Aussies out there, get triggered because that's the intention. So put it this way, right? I remember learning in school the big waste of time that was in modern history. Loved my teacher, by the way. She was great. She was a paisana. She was Italian as well. And I remember they said in the First World War, the Christmas truce. So the Allies and the Germans got out of their trenches in probably 1914, and it was snowing, and they played a game of football in no man's land. And they spoke to each other, and this has been immortalized in movies like War Horse and The Trench and all the others. And they played football with each other, and that game of football humanized them. And when they looked in the eyes, one 17-year-old to a fuck another 17-year-old, you know, Allied versus German in the First World War, they said, you know, hang on, like, you know, playing a game of football, but you're not this this crazy German that we've been told in the news. You're just like me. And then you know what they did every Christmas after that? They fucking shelled the fuck out of the trenches so they could never do anything like that again. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Who's fighting the war? What's the purpose behind it?
Yep.
And then we look at Anzac Day and we say we thank them for their sacrifice. Thanking them for their sacrifice reminds me of the fucking Hunger Games movie when the President Snow says we're doing the reaping so that the districts can repay the sacrifice of their uprising. So because they uprise, now we sacrifice them and we honor them for it.
Yeah.
What you're doing is a good thing.
That's what Anzac Day is.
And it's fucking bullshit. Because at the end of the day, they were sold a bill of lies. They were said that, okay, you're going to go over there and fight for something that's got nothing to do with us because of our Commonwealth links with the UK, right? But they lied to them. They lied to them and said it would be a journey. They fucking knew very well that was not going to be a journey of self camaraderie with your mates. They knew that they were going there and those trenches were going to absolutely decimate them mentally and physically. They knew that, but they lied to them, and yet we still go there and congratulate those soldiers for that.
Yeah.
Now, we congratulate them for having the right morals, saying, you know what, if I'm going to do this to defend my homeland and my family, then yes, I will do it. But what are we congratulating them for? We should be saying, you know what, they died, not for us, but under false pretenses. So Anzac Day should be a day where we look our government in the fucking eyes and say, you haven't fucking changed one bit.
Dude.
You still use the same propaganda to get us to do all these stupid things we don't want to do. And they're going to do it again. They're going to, a war's going to come up, they're going to draft, and they're going to say, you love your country? But this is what I don't understand about the draft, because now this current government, or the last couple governments even before then, are eroding Australian identity. You can work on Anzac Day, you can work on Australia Day.
Yeah.
Those days aren't sacred anymore. So where's the culture?
And the wool of selling, Anzac Day, Australia Day flags, they weren't making money on it.
So what? So
Coles.
if you can't get people to then join the draft willingly because of nationalism, how are you going to get them to join? It's going to be knock on the door, bang, AFP there, you've been called up into the draft. Well, I'm not going. Well, hang on, you fucking have to.
Oh my god!
I'll
I'm
go full
going.
retard, dude.
I'm not going. I'm not going.
Why?
You're going to show?
Sorry, I can't go. I'm unvaccinated.
Yeah, but you got immune system.
Yeah, I'll give him COVID.
That's right, dude.
You know,
Oh, we're all clear on that.
I've got herpes. No, sorry.
We're all clear.
You know, but
Yeah, you're right.
You know what? I agree with that.
But having said that, though, just before you continue, Stodgy, I want to clarify that yes, anyone that dies in war then should be honoured. But I think we have to then realise what exactly we are honouring, because the whole their sacrifice thing just doesn't sit well with me. Because being sacrificed then has the connotation of, you know, the elite started the war, they funded both sides of the war, and then they sacrificed their people. For what? On their disgusting altar.
Yeah.
What were they killing each other for? For a couple inches of fucking land?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's
it was
ridiculous.
terrible, and the Australians in World War One copped it a lot, man. And that's why I always
reason.
I always pay tribute on Anzac Day. Every single day when I think about that, and whenever you watch those war movies and whatnot, it's truly it's devastating. But I'll come back to my original point. Conscription happens, I'm not going. I don't care.
No.
If someone comes to my house to attack my family, my neighbours, if I'm good with him. If I'm not, fuck off. Is that Barry down the road? You know, he denied my DA. Fuck him. Kill him. Take him out. But
He called the council and I was trying to build my greenhouse.
that's it. See you later. But everyone else, I will do that. That's the type of person I am.
But do you reckon they'll call us? Do you reckon it'll be more?
Oh, fuck yeah.
psyops?
There's going to be
For
another
what?
third world war. Why? There has
but
to
it-
always continually be a cleansing and a restart.
Yeah, but it could come into our backyard, mate.
Look,
It might be psyops.
The extent of everyone's nationalism only extends to your backyard. When I say I love Australia, I love Australia. I love the land, love the ocean, love the home. The people, look, man, I'm starting to fucking wonder.
Oh, no,
Honestly.
I agree,
You
mate.
know, Australian culture, yeah, like... I think that's another bill of lies we were
You know-
sold. The lucky country. Are we really lucky?
There was back in the day, not so much anymore.
Yeah,
was
but it was
back in the day.
propaganda. Now they're doing it the same.
To
No,
get
but
you-
hey,
to
it
get
was
you
a
to
lucky
become-
country. A lot of our
Get you to be complacent.
fucking
Well, the
family,
baby boomers, dude.
our family came
Yeah,
over.
baby
Your
boomers.
family, everyone came over, built houses,
Yeah, capitalised for
wealth.
them.
Yes, and then it should hopefully flow on, but it's now getting
Dude,
eroded.
they're taxing us or doing stuff for their super. They're bringing inheritance tax in.
When?
So all these soon. This is the Labor government's going to be in, mate.
I better get my
I'm
dad's
telling
house.
you,
I better
dude.
get my dad's house transferred.
I'm
over
telling you,
now.
mate, it's coming.
Boomers were fucking brainwashed.
They
to the
were,
max.
but now they come to the end of it in their 70s, 80s now.
Well, look, you
And
know
they're
what-
they're
you know
taking
what-
it back.
you
You know why they want all that? Yeah, you're right.
They
you're
built,
right.
they propaganda the
Yeah.
Europeans go to a free country, right? They come out, the Europeans come out, our
Build it.
grandparents and parents build it up. Then it's boom, flip it around, and we're going to take.
Yes.
And now new immigration, all the Indians and Arabs coming in, and it's going to the same system. They're the ones voting for Labor government to keep them in to
You know
build
what?
up again,
Well,
brain
that's
dead.
the whole. That's the
and then they
condition
fuck
of
you
you.
towards the end. It's
that-
a whole 80-year trans.
The condition of you.
I
getting
know,
broad,
but I'm
that's
crazy, dude.
You are crazy, and
But
I
this is
think,
why I started this. Thank you. I'll
I
finish.
think
Let's
you
finish
know
this
what?
off now. I've had
No,
my point.
I think that we need to finish it off now because Nick needs to go somewhere.
He
He's got
does.
like a pedicure or some shit to do with the hair.
Oh, wait, can we get a boxing fight coming out?
Yeah, but we're not going because we didn't buy tickets. This episode, because Daniel Biasi only drops one episode every 4 weeks, this is going to get dropped in 2032.
I've got this is it'll be a few weeks.
In a few
Won't be that
weeks,
far.
so-
But well, yes, we'll see. I want to do more of this, and
Yes.
you've got your podcast, which again, explain
My
Blades
podcast.
and Bloodlines.
Yeah, Blades and Bloodlines podcast. So I film it out of my family's barbershop. It is the last bastion of not only free speech, but encapsulating the best and brightest from my area, told through the lens of the classic barbershop trope, which is storytelling and connecting community. So that is what the Blades and Bloodlines podcast is all about. So feel free. You will link it in there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And yeah, you're all welcome to watch. And the collaborations, it's not just my thing. Blades and Bloodlines would not be possible without the fruit of the tree of every man in here today.
Bless you.
We're all one, all for one for all.
100%.
You know,
I was going to
alright.
call this the Musketeers.
You know
too.
what? And my podcast is the Stojcevski podcast, and I just talk shit. So how do you go? How do you go after this man?
Well, you got
you
reviews.
can't.
We got another thing
Nah,
in
it's
the
all good.
pipeline. you
Sorry?
know. We've got another thing coming up as well. You know, there's ideas.
Yeah,
coming
no,
up.
there's many. Actually, we got so many ideas.
Yeah.
And we're gonna bring them all to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna literally seed. We're gonna literally is it fruit our seed, lawn our seed? I don't know what.
Sow our
We're gonna
seed.
sow our seeds everywhere. So everywhere, everything.
And our descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky.
I'm gonna say it now. We even got our own podcast, like a group podcast coming out sometime in the future.
Yep.
It's gonna be mind blowing. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be delicious. Okay. It's gonna be wow.
But we'll continue to do
No
this.
bricks currency. No bricks currency.
No brings currency.
No, of course we're gonna continue.
We're going to continue this, all right?
We're gonna continue.
Maybe in a
this until we don't want to.
Once a
anymore.
month, once 6 weeks, we'll work it out.
Once a month.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys are on mine in September. You guys
Beautiful.
I need to get you onto my unhinged. Fuck. Yeah. Okay. You know, we're gonna finish this up. Where's old mate bloody Tortellini?
Where is he?
Is he still coming around?
Justin.
Justin.
Yesterday. He's on the path of God.
Oh,
But
dude.
is he doing podcasting anymore?
He's coming back eventually.
Hey, we'll bring him back for yours, okay? We'll
Nah, he's
find
coming
him.
back. I'll find him.
Told you, he's walking.
But
He's taking the ring back to
you're the
Middle
next
Earth.
guest. So
love,
we're gonna
love to vibe with someone like that. Like I want someone on here that I can challenge,
Good.
but
He's-
not
he
not
will
in
take you
not
down,
in an
bro.
aggressive way. But I want to have
He'll
a
get you aggressive,
beating
isn't
of the minds.
No, he'll take it. Yeah, he's a wrestler. Olympics or something. But no, that's, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to organise all of us to do the next Unhinged,
Done.
where I drink alcohol and I just tell people off for fucking
Shuck
2-3
that one
hours. It's all right.
Thanks for coming down.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the shit gluten-free pizza.
But it was a good example of. It,
I
brought up good conversation.
I enjoyed the 1 hour,
Dana.
hour 20-minute drive.
Dana, thank you for the apple pie. I
Yes.
would pay lots of money for that.
Dude, you finished.
It's done. It's done.
Thanks, Nicholas. Thanks,
Thank
boys.
you.
Bye, everybody.
I love you.
Take a
See ya.
big piss.
Bye. Ciao. See you later.